We're a group of concerned residents, and we believe there's considerable room for improvement in the proposed development of the old college site. We'll have a short presentation from Elizabeth Nathaniels. We've got an illustrated briefing on the proposed development from me. I've had a huge amount of help from local residents, particularly Lucy and Tom, who are with us. We'll have a presentation from Nick Russell on Gladedale's financial position, and some comments on the consultation process from Lee Wilson and from myself. We will invite any key councillors to speak, and we have three people here prepared to talk, representing different political affiliations. And then we'll open up to the floor after the initial presentations, but we want to tell you what this development is about, so we can all comment on it knowledgeably. I'd like now to hand over to Elizabeth Nathaniels. She's a trustee of the Burton St Leonards Society. She's going to give us a rundown on the history of the archery ground site. Elizabeth.
Well, who are the people who built Burton St Leonards? Should I sit down? And I just want you to know, gosh, can you see that all right? These two men actually almost changed the face of London between them. On the left you see the father, James Burton, who built most of Bloomsbury in the early 1900s, and Decimus Burton, who, as we shall see, built a whole lot of important buildings in London too. And this is just to show you, marked in red on the left are the bits of Bloomsbury that James Burton built, and that is a typical row of his houses. He also, James Burton, worked very closely with John Nash, the famous architect, and John Summerson said that if it hadn't been for James Burton, Sr., Regent Street would never have been built. So that's quite important. And that's a lovely view of as it was before it was changed later on. Now, James Burton's son, Decimus, was a brilliant architect from a very early age, and few people realise that he actually designed the first two terraces of Regent's Park. This is one of them, Cornwall Terrace. He also, at the age of 17, designed the family home in Regent's Park, which is very much still there, all the home. And these are just a selection of his remarkable works. The big archway, Hyde Park corner, the wonderful screen which bids you enter Hyde Park, next to Apsley House, the home, and a large country house in Kent and so on. Now, why St Leonards? Why come down here when all was going so well in London? Well, things weren't going too well in London after all, at the end of the 1920s. And this is a cartoon showing how John Nash was getting very unpopular because he was spending far too much money on Buckingham Palace. And there was a big falling out between the two of them. So why not leave London and go to the sea? Forget Tunbridge Wells, forget Bath. The sea was the place to be at this time. Well, this is what Burton St Leonards looked like before it was built, the coastline. It really was a wild piece of coastline. He created a new town from nothing. And he brought Regent's Park to the seaside. You'll see those tall, classical villa terraces along the front, on the seafront, and the scattered residential park at the back with the villas and so on. This is a map from 1846. The bits painted on pink are those extra bits of land acquired by the Burton estate in the 1840s. And you can see on the left, the archery ground is sort of white-shaped blob. I haven't got an indicator. And then to either side of it, there are two pink blobs, and those are the extra pieces of land, which by 1855 you can clearly see St Leonards Park, including the archery ground. And we know that it was used, certainly right from the beginning, as an archery ground, because in 1834-5, these are the royal visitors, and Princess Victoria gave some awards for the arches, and you can see them. They are in the museum today. You can only see them if you ask them, but the museum has them here. A picture of the archery ground in the 1850s. What a lovely sight, and a view of the sea in the background. And now this is thanks to Richard Heritage, who's been doing some work on the covenants, the legal side of things. And it's very interesting to see that these covenants are also forbade without consent the use of the land for any purpose other than an ornamental garden or a pleasure ground. And here we have the mount, which overlooks the archery ground. And here we have a bit from the Architectural Review, May 1968, when by now a lot of the original Burton St Leonards had been torn down and the archery ground had the college built. People were very upset. The big guns came down from London. The Burton St Leonards Society was formed, the first president of which was a very famous architectural historian, Sir John Summerson. And there you are, 200 years history.